Shall we begin?
Hey there, boys and girls. Bob Kearns, the unsung photographer, and we've got a little update for you. I'm like a week behind here. I apologize for that, but unfortunately, there's a lot going on. I had a dear friend of mine pass away, and I had a new grandchild. So, the circle of life continues. Lots of other things going on with family, and I just haven't had a chance to sit down and do this. So we're going to have a quick news briefing today, and we're going to talk about some of the other things I've managed to squeeze in my schedule, and a couple of other things I've sort of tripped on going around the interweb, as you do as well. So let's get going. The picture you see up here, and I love to start these out with a picture of a beautiful woman, and this is Bianca. And if you see up in the upper left-hand corner here, this was shot with a Hasselblad X1D. That's that brand new mirrorless Hasselblad you've heard so much about. I had an opportunity, had an invitation to go to a hands-on demo where we had the X1D. We had the new H6, which is the larger, more classic-looking digital Hasselblad with a I believe it's the same sensor in the one they had there. They also have another back for that camera because it's modular, which is 100 megapixel, which we did not see. We were also had the opportunity to work with some Broncolor strobes, which I found totally fascinating. And I'm going to plagiarize a little bit here and show you a couple of a video that Duke Pham produced. Where is it here? That's the X1D we're going to talk about. And here is the video. It was hosted by Mark J. O'Brien Studios in South Jersey. Photographer Eric Valland was there. You may have seen him on Creative Live. An interesting young man, very talented, and enjoyed his talk tremendously. And I met, of course, Duke Pham there, and he's also a very creative guy, and these guys do some nice work. And Duke put this video together, and I hope they don't mind me showing this to you, but I rather liked it. Absolutely a wow. An absolute wonderful job by Pham. He did really, really, really amazing. I thought that was a great video he put together about the event. And you even got to see me and my larger tummy than it used to be, taking a shot there. So that was a lot of fun. I hope you enjoyed that. Please check out Duke and Mark J. O'Brien. They're certainly available. They're on Facebook, and I believe they both have their own websites, and they do some really nice work, and I think you'll enjoy having a look-see. Okay. Let's go on and talk about this beauty for a minute. This is the X1D. This is the camera we got to shoot with. We could have shot also with the H6, but quite honestly, everybody was X1D crazy, and that's what they wanted to shoot, myself included. I have to admit, even though I'm a big fan of the H series at Hasselblad's, this thing fascinated me. You can see certainly by the X1D was a fun camera to shoot. It was not super fast. It weighs probably in the range of a D800 or a 5D Mark II, 3 size SLR camera. It's not as thick because, of course, it's a mirrorless camera. And it is also a little weighty because of the size of the lenses. We had 2 lenses. I believe we had a 90 millimeter and one that was a 35 millimeter equivalent, which I think was probably a 50-ish millimeter lens. The crop factor is a little weird because it's not a full medium format size sensor. None of the digital sensors really are. I think there was 1 or 2 very early on, but they were super expensive, and they weren't particularly high resolution at the time. So these are all smaller than medium format film, but much, much larger than a 35 millimeter. So beautiful sensors. 50 megapixel. This image is retouched, but I will give you an idea of the detail you can achieve here. Just look at this. It's absolutely gorgeous. At a 1:1, you can see every little detail of the jewelry here, and you can see the texture still in the skin even though it's been retouched. But let me show you an unretouched image. Not a tremendous amount of difference. This is not retouched, but you can certainly see a lot more texture in the skin. Oh, that's just slightly out of focus because depth of field, medium format, and you can see this is f3.5, ISO 100, 90 millimeter lens. You can see her eyes are tack sharp, but by the time we get to the ridge of her hairs, it's starting to soften, and you can see certainly all the blur in the back, and even her jewelry here is a little soft. As it comes forward a little bit, it comes back into focus, and I didn't retouch this, but let me tell you, what a beautiful example of what that camera can do. This is why medium format is absolutely gorgeous. A couple more. This is a single light brown collar beauty dish, and the Ceros heads, which are pricey but gorgeous, and you can operate them with a iPad or a little controller that you sit on top of your camera, like many other systems. So if you compare that to, let's see what we have here. D800 with the my Einsteins. Oh no, I'm lying. These aren't Einsteins. The key light here was a Dynalite that was loaned to us for a review, and that review is in a previous video. But you can see here that the Dynalites with a parabolic reflector, silver parabolic, beautiful light, also a beautiful picture. And the D800 is a 36 megapixel, so also great detail. But, and you can tell by the zoom, we go 1:1 here, not as much as the Hasselblad. So Hasselblad, good news, nice camera. It did show signs of being a little buggy and new, and there's some software things they probably need to bring up to speed just a little bit. Nothing drastic, but still gorgeous. and one of the cleanest and most beautiful looking newer cameras I have seen. But what else is cool? So look at the price on this devil. $12,995. And I believe that gets you the camera and a lens. B&H, let's go to B&H. That's our standard for Discovery. And yeah, it does. It gets you a 50 megapixel camera, full HD. And this has the 45 millimeter lens on it. That's the 35. Beautiful. 35 equivalent, I should say, or close to, thereabouts. It's a little shorter than the normal lens. Normal lens would probably be, I don't know, on this camera, 70, 80 on a 3x3 Hasselblad. The 80 millimeters in normal lens. So I'd have a lot of math to do to tell you, but normal-ish. We'll leave it there. So that's what that's selling for, and that is cheap for a Hasselblad, relatively speaking. The other camera that I had an opportunity to try, well, I'm lying, I didn't have an opportunity to try, but I do have some files that I downloaded from out west, from the Slanted Lens folks, just to look at and compare. And again, a lot of detail. Medium format is going to give you that. This one in particular, not as much dynamic range, I didn't think. And it turns out, at least the Hasselblad rep was telling me that the Hasselblads are 16-bit RAW files, and he claims that the Fujis are only 14. I haven't had my hand on the Fuji yet. We'll let you know when that happens. Okay, camera news. I don't really do news. It was just a lot of things came across my face here that I was interested in sharing with you. Oh, here's another one that hit me that I thought was kind of like everybody was raving about nothing. Nikon is not going out of business. God, I hate click me titles. That's nonsense. One of the divisions didn't perform as expected, and they're downsizing that division. I think it was a semiconductor business. Okay, Sarah. Here's another little thing, and separate from that, next issue. I hear all these people going, oh, mirrorless is smaller. Do you see this Hasselblad? This Hasselblad is mirrorless. It is not smaller. What changes the size of what you're lugging around is really the glass, is where all the weight is, and that's determined by the size of the sensor. So if you've got a full-frame mirrorless camera, you're going to be carrying around just as much weight in the glass as you would anything else, so that's a bunch of nonsense. And if you're basing your decisions off of that myth, then you better recheck yourself. Okay, here's another thing. I must have seen this about 18 times. Mostly on Facebook and any other places that folks ask questions. And I think we've gone over this in some other videos, but maybe we ought to revisit it. If your photos are blurry and noisy when shooting indoors at night, got some good news for you. You don't have to buy a new camera. Go spend $70 and get a flash. Or up to $500 if you want to. Or you can spend $3,000 and get the brown colors. But get a flash. Learn how to use it. You don't have to keep buying a new camera to be chasing ISO into forever land. Because if you don't have light in the room, you certainly don't have good light anyway. So shooting in the dark does not give you well-lit photographs. It just gives you like a passable exposure. And still today, no matter what they're telling you, a lot of noise. So, though it's better, no doubt about it. But, spend the $70, get a flash. Don't go spend another $3,000 on a camera. It'll expand your skill set, and you'll get much nicer product. Oh, and just to remind you, Luminar, I can still give you a code for that. It's Focal Planes 10. It's no spaces. And that'll get you $10 off, not 10%, $10. So that's a nice little discount from MacFun. And they are apparently coming out with a PC version of that. They're still working on it. So it's not just Mac only, at least in the near future. All right, that's my notes on that one. Okay, now what does that leave us with? That leaves us with rant time. I almost really like rant time. And it's unfortunate here that we have a victim, Mr. Eric Rossi. And don't misunderstand me, I have nothing against Mr. Rossi in any way, shape, or form. Matter of fact, I follow him. I've been following him for a couple of years. And he's generally very energetic and very knowledgeable and, well, you know, within the limits of his experience. I mean, he's still a young guy, but he's seems like a good guy. So I want to play this for you. Hold on. Let me make sure the volume's up. All right. I'm going to turn my mic down.
Film photography dead? Is it a fad? Is it over? Is it something that no one should really worry about? Now, a lot of people who are saying this tend to be a little bit older, but I don't know if they really understand the industry, and they're a bit aggressive with their opinion, but...
I know. He just said that. And I got to play that part again.
A lot of people who are saying this tend to be a little bit older, but I don't know if they really understand the industry.
Eric, God knows, I enjoy your show, and I think you're seemingly enough a nice guy. I know I've seen you with Ted Forbes, and Ted's somebody else that I follow from the art of photography, and he's a very intelligent and talented fellow as well, and well worth a follow, boys and girls. However, this is tantamount to what they would refer to as ageism. And it really, really, really is offensive to take somebody who's been in the industry for 40 years and minimize them by saying because they're older, they probably don't understand the industry. Now, that may not be an exact quote, but it's certainly the inference here. I would really appreciate it if you would dial that kind of stuff back and not assume that people's age is somehow an automatic qualifier for whether or not they are well informed. I myself have been shooting film for many, many years, and I still shoot film. I shoot 120 film. I shoot 35 millimeter film. I do it for my clients on occasion. But as far as the industry is concerned, us older folks, air quote day, will tell you that if you're trying to make a living shooting only film, it is a tiny, itsy bitsy, teeny weeny little niche, and you're probably going to starve to death. So you better have a digital camera, because turnaround times and what the expectations are for delivery no longer meet what you can do with film. Unless you are hired specifically to produce film and those expectations are set ahead of time, then you're in trouble. And believe me, if there's anybody still making a living shooting film, it is a very tiny percentage of the industry and a tiny little niche that maybe a few people are filling out, but that's about it. You want to shoot film? Shoot film. Film is fun. I enjoy film. The process is wonderful. I develop my black and whites. I develop my own color. I just enjoy the crap out of it. I have Hasselblads. I have Bronica. I have old Canon gear. I have old Regent gear. I have all kinds of stuff. I have Polaroids. I have SX70s. So, us older folks, I don't know, just cut that out. Don't assume that age has something to do with how qualified an opinion is. That's disturbing. Okay, so that's Mr. Rossi. And that's my rant for the day. And generally speaking, Mr. Rossi has a very entertaining channel, and I would suggest you go check him out. And if you're in YouTube land, give him a follow. Again, this is nothing personal. It's just a general attitude I find with a lot of American young folks, mostly. Oddly enough, a lot of my new follows, and thank you, folks, for the new follows. I'm thrilled to death. But there are a lot of folks from other cultures that I think have a little more respect for their elders and realize that the more rubber you have on the road, the more you pick up along the way. I literally have been doing this for 40 years, so a little respect, please. Would appreciate it. All right, guys, thanks a lot. Remember, even if you're on the right path, if you're just sitting in the middle of the road, you're going to get run over. Have a good one.
Now, a lot of people who are saying this tend to be a little bit older, but I don't know if they really understand the industry.
Shall we begin?